Have you read this book?
No.
Why is it on your bookshelf?
Someone gave it to me long before it was a feature film. But then I didn't even see the feature film, so... Oh, that's another one that's a movie. And I have read this. Yes, I've read it.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
This is not a book that's been read.
I read this.
When?
But after the movie, actually. After I saw the movie. Wow, I have a lot of books based on movies.
No, you have a lot of books that became movies.
No, I think I meant books based on movies.
I smoke weed. And
Yeah.
for a long time, I felt like I couldn't tell people that.
I know, that was like your big secret.
It was like my number one big secret.
Because it was so off-brand.
But why is it off-brand? And that's what I'd like to discuss. I think it's insane that alcohol is legal federally
Sure.
and weed is not.
Yes, a lot of people agree with you.
Let me take you through this.
Great.
Do you know how many lives have been destroyed by alcohol, including your father's?
Okay, we didn't need to get personal with it.
It's so normal and normalized for someone to, like, get a drink after work, to, like, have a drink with your family, like, you know, but, like, for years, I was like, I have to keep this part of me hidden.
I have no idea what that's like.
Do I know what it's like to be gay?
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, wow. This is not relatable to me at all. And regulated by the government. Whoa! Whoa.
And it's slowly, state by state. This is my gay journey. I want to say that I actually haven't smoked in a few days, so what you're seeing... What? We're shooting Cheyenne!
Number one stoner, Cheyenne Dunn. Just call.
You thought we were just having a chat?
I thought you were just talking. I'm sorry.
Wow, how natural.
We don't talk to each other anymore unless it's on camera. When we're together, not filming, it's complete silence.
Anyway, my sister's here.
Sorry.
Wait, speaking of me popping
Wait,
in, can
Chris,
I talk
yeah, come
Okay.
here. Just this is chaos.
I have something to say about
Come
it.
on.
Let him
in.
come here.
Come on
Because now
in.
at this point, the channel is chaos.
Well, I figure you can cut to it. I'll just be sitting there.
You'll remember Chris Reinacher.
I wonder how much, now that weed is legal, paranoia is a symptom of weed. Is paranoia a symptom of weed because it's illegal? Or is it a symptom of
Oh,
weed?
like people that were
People are
smoking
like, I
when
don't
it was-
like it, I get paranoid.
I just also think that what people have to understand is, like, in the same way with alcohol, people respond to it differently. It's like, I don't respond well to alcohol. Like, I think I'm, like, kind of allergic. Like, I don't
You
feel...
do become so fun, though.
I'm the best me. I'm curious if I would have ever kept it a secret if it hadn't been illegal. Like, do you know? Like, I think
yeah.
it was, like, that it was illegal. That was why.
Oh.
Is it weird that that's part of the reason I'm very public about it? Because I'm straight white guy, I don't get this like representation thing. But I really did feel that way about weed. I was like, well, if a kid gets to feel like that's like you're not a fucking criminal for smoking weed.
Yeah.
But
I always felt-
regardless,
I always
you
felt
weren't
very
gonna go
paranoid.
to jail. You weren't.
I've been to jail for weed.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah.
But for how long?
Overnight.
Right.
The day of graduation, I got pulled over with this much weed in my car.
Which graduation?
High school graduation. And I in my hometown, because that's so like rare, they assigned me this class for people who had just gotten out of jail or like had class A drugs. And then I moved to LA to go to college, and I had to take it every week with a bunch of meth addicts, coke addicts, heroin addicts, or people who just got out of prison and wanted to get their children's back. So it was actually a really interesting experience, but everybody there was like, "You're here for weed?"
You're like the
Yeah.
And I
loser
was
of
like,
the class.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
Wow.
Also, prostitution needs to be legalized.
Yeah, yes, there's a lot of things that are very, like, paternalistic. You know what I mean?
It's just, our priorities are wrong.
Correct.
Like, we can't pretend that we are a strict society where we have our best interests at heart when alcohol is legal.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just become more and more anti-alcohol,
Well,
more pro-weed.
A lot of places where weed is legalized, they tax it, and they use the taxes for wonderful things,
Yeah.
like education
And drug rehabilitation
and
programs.
drug rehabilitation programs. Which, again, as you mentioned, big coup for people in my family. Talking about how it might be off-brand for you, it makes sense because you do have anxiety and you do have, like, mental illnesses
yeah.
that it really helps.
I would so much rather just, like, smoke some indica to help me go to sleep than, like, have to, like, be prescribed Ambien. I can then self-administer, like, how much, like, because some nights I just need, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so much healthier for me, and just also just, like, a relief to know that, like, okay, like if I'm freaking out, like if I can't sleep, like I have this thing at my disposal that will have like no side effects for me the next day. Like I and again, it's personal. It's like everyone's body responds to it completely differently, but I never wake up feeling like a weed hangover. I know some people do, but like I don't. So it works great for me. And I would just love to just represent weed. I'd love to be the face of weed.
That's what I was
I'd
gonna
love
say.
to just like be sponsored by weed.
This is what I was gonna say to both of you. Is like, you know, because sometimes we'll get like comments from people who I think are probably very young, being like, "You guys are role models. How can you support drugs? Blah blah blah." Like, what's your answer to that?
I love Tylenol too. I support drugs that help me.
I'm
Like-
anti-Tylenol.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are probably more people are anti-Tylenol than anti-weed at this point.
That's an interesting question, though, because I do think that weed does have long-term effects if you smoke it all the time when you're younger. I don't necessarily think somebody should smoke weed as much as I did in high school.
Yeah.
I don't even necessarily think somebody...
Well,
I'm gonna get you guys. I don't do a lot of stuff with myself. I'm just gonna reveal a lot of internal
Well, I
problems.
think that-
I'm scared.
That was a lot.
Yeah, wow. See, that's what.
Yeah, that's what happens when you come on the couch.
I gotta get off of
Honestly,
this show.
have we ever had? I'm gonna say, have we ever had a man on this show who didn't leave being like, I've really faced myself?
My whole thing is I feel like when people see certain things, they assume that it means like all the time, as much as you want, constantly. But like with like anything else, I support it in moderation and like what works for you and what is healthy for you, which is gonna be again different for everybody. And also like it's something you have to monitor. Like sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm smoking too much, and so I'll stop smoking. And like I think the issue comes when there's a sense of dependence and when you feel like, oh, I need this to get through the day. But also I think there are periods in your life where it's okay to be dependent on it. Like when I went through my last breakup, I had to smoke every day, and like, oh no, that's unhealthy. But also I got through every day, and then as things got better, I like stopped smoking as much.
I think there's a lot of like weirdness now with it being legal in some places where we've really like screwed the pooch for ourselves because there's so many people in jail for weed, but then other places are like, oh no, it's legal. Like it really needs to be some sort of federal.
It's very confusing for somebody who's been in jail for 30 years for weed to
Right.
be released today.
Yeah.
And be like,
And be
wait,
like,
I'm
wait.
sorry. I went to jail for what?
And it's like
tricky.
medicine. The bottom line is like it should have never been illegal.
Well, that's the other thing is it has so many beneficial medicinal purposes.
I know.
And like, you know, I hate that like there are people out there who are older and are holding on to this stigma, and so they like won't let themselves smoke and won't let themselves, you know, take things that don't even have THC in them, like just do CBD oil or, you know, like
Yeah.
there's so much stigma attached to it that like they could feel so much better if they just like let that go. And I think it's interesting, they're showing a lot of studies with just like kids that like with seizures, like, you know, I'm hoping that this next generation will grow up realizing that like it is a magical plant.
Wow, are you gonna cry?
I love weed.
Like
I never get the phrase "screwed the pooch." What does it mean?
it just
Did
means we've
somebody
made
fuck
things
a
hard
dog?
for ourselves.
Don't
We've
listen,
made things.
sugar.
I
Don't
know.
listen.
I'm just saying
Someone
we've made things
fucked a
hard
dog.
for
No one wants
ourselves.
to fuck you. No one does.